Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to look at something gigantic, something huge, something, dare I say, Titanic-ish. It is the Wei Jiang enormous Ultima Guard, and he's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe, stick around, have some fun with us, check out the channel, see what it is that catches your interest. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, and Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. Whew, and now we got this guy. Now you might notice a couple of little nicks on my forehead here. I've been doing a little bit of work around the house, and I am clumsy, but that's not what we're here for, and those nicks have nothing to do with this guy, as huge and kind of difficult to handle as he is. You see, I was somewhat disappointed when I found out that the Titan release for this year was going to be Predaking. Not because I don't like Predaking, I do, but because I think it made more logical sense to have Omega Supreme be next. Well, this is one of those cases of, if you can't kind of go to the mountain, you bring the mountain to you. I was intent on having my Titan Omega Supreme, and I think this guy probably fits the bill. Of course, we have another couple of options, and I'm going to touch on them and discuss them a little bit. But this guy's absolutely glorious. I technically got him as a birthday gift. I will talk about that in just a little bit. I ordered the guy on May 7th of 2018, and as of June 1st, he was kind of leaving from the second to last destination to get to the final destination to be mailed out to me. And I can tell you now, to get from one destination to the next takes about 15 minutes. But for some reason, he was in transit for 3 days. I have no idea why. Which means I went to pick him up on June the 4th. And when I got him, he was wrapped in a box, and I said, wow, this is a huge box. Surely the actual Ultima Guard box can't be that big, man. Well, I opened up that box, and it was interesting actually. There was a very thin wrapping around it of some sort of a padding, and then there was the box itself. And when you opened it up, this was inside with really just 4 plastic corners on it, and that's it. It was also wrapped in plastic itself. But it was actually well protected. All things considered, I was astounded that the actual box was as big as the shipping box. And then I removed him from that, and we have what we have here. And you know what I'm like. I like to go through as much detail as I can, so that's kind of how he got in my hands. We're going to start with him in here. We're going to take him out, have a look at everything, the way it comes out of box. We're going to see how it all goes together. We're going to compare him to really all of my other Titan class figures, as well as another couple. We're going to have some fun here, and we're going to kind of end things off with, I guess, an update, and I would say my final iteration of my absolute ultimate Autobot base mode. Stick around, this one is going to be fun. So without further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. And boy, oh boy, I've been waiting a long time for this guy. I've been wanting to do this review for a while. I've had him a while, but there's just so much to cover here that I've been a while getting to it. Okay, so I already sort of outlined to you exactly what it was that was involved with getting him mailed here from May the 7th to June 1st to waiting that weekend to June 4th. And I didn't really expect to get this guy. I know that there are really 3 viable versions, by the way, of Omega Supreme that are out, and all of them above my pocketbook. This is actually a gift from my mom for my birthday. There's a lot of history behind it, a lot of story behind it, but she wanted to make sure that I had something for this particular birthday that I would value keep that I would have as a showpiece, and something that I wouldn't normally get myself. And this guy came up and I said, man, he's too expensive. But through kind of, chit-chatting and whatnot, it came about that, yeah, this was what I was getting. I wasn't really comfortable getting this as a gift, but man, oh man, is it magnificent. Now, I will talk about him in relation to the other two releases, Terminus Giganticus from Fans Toys and DX9's Gabriel. Obviously, I don't have those, but I know enough about them that I think I can make some comments here and there, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I also said that this guy was pretty much the full size of his shipping box, and he had the little plastic corners on, that being these little corners. And I still have 4 of them on here at the moment. This one up here, this one over here, this one down here, and one more over there. And it works pretty good. I have a couple of little nicks here and a little tear here, but that honestly I think is my own fault from fiddling with the box. I don't think it was like it out of package. I got this from Show Z store. I've never gotten anything from there before, but that was honestly where I found the best deal on this guy. And considering the size of him and that he came from China, the shipping was actually pretty quick, easy. It was a great experience. But this is the box, and on the front we have, of course, a picture of Wei Jiang Ultima Guard. Although this M looks like 3 more eyes, so it looks like Ultima Guard, which is what one of the kids called him, one of the scraplets. On the top we just have Ultima Guard again. On the side we just have the logo, I suppose, and the name in Wei Jiang. And on the other side we have, oh boy is this heavy, and I'll get to that in a bit as well. We have I guess a technical sort of layout thing here. So, you can sort of see the line work going for this guy. And down bottom there's a little writing that says shape-shifting toy with lights and sound, batteries not included. So sad, so sad. On the bottom of the box, I don't know what's on the bottom of this thing. Oh, maybe I will try and show this. Whew. On the bottom we see his base mode. We have a bunch of warnings and all of that stuff, and you see the things that are included. Of course, Ultima Guard, Bones minifigure. I don't know if that's supposed to be bonus minifigure or if they call Doc Bones, since they can't call him Doc. It says alternate face. We'll see to that in a little bit. We see Rocket Flame and, well, Rocket Display Stand, Bio Card, and instructions. So all of that is included, apparently. Whew. And on the back of the box we have the Supreme Defender Awakens, and we have a whole bio here that kind of explains his background. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the long story short is that, he really fills the role of Omega Supreme, defending Crystal City, or being a guardian for Crystal City, even though they don't call him Omega Supreme and they don't call Crystal City Crystal City. Basically, it says that he was part of some sort of an experimental program to build a sentient defender, and that he guards Crystallopolis. So, you get the idea, right? Down here you have Ultima Guard, lights up and speaks multiple classic phrases. And these are the phrases that he speaks. Again, we have the product shot there. We have tech specs over on the side. They're also on his bio card, so I'll talk about him a little bit more then. But that's really it for the box. I will say this. The package for shipping said that this guy was 15 pounds. Now, I'm sure that includes the packaging inside the box and even the weight of those little plastic corners. I think it's pretty safe to say, actually, you know what, it's not just safe to say, I weighed the guy. He's 12.8 pounds. So he's, say, 13 pounds. That's a lot of weight. That is a lot of weight for a guy this big. And that's why it's, you know, you see me sort of struggling with certain things here. Not because it's hard, but because it's heavy and cumbersome for the size that we're dealing with. So what about inside the box? What do we have inside the box? Well, when you get him, if he's packed like mine, I assume they're all packed the same, you lay him down with the front of the box facing up. And that's important because otherwise things aren't going to come out right. You open it up and then really it's tight to try and figure out how to pull him out. There's a little plastic clamshell here. I find that it's best to start to slide him out from there. Okay. And once we have him out, now we have a huge styrofoam piece thing. I'm going to just readjust the camera a little bit and show you kind of what's in here. And this is the easiest way to show the top of this. We have the leg pieces here and here. Over here is the stand that works for his rocket. We have his two forearm pieces here and here inside of baggies. We have his central body piece in here. Moving up, on the upper left we have his two parts to his flame effect. And we have two of these stick pieces. They have to go at the base for the rocket stand. And way over here we have Doc, or Bones if you will. And that's that. But down on the edge here, along right there, we have an edge, and we lift this up, and when we lift this up we have more in here. So what's the more that we have in here? Well, we have this baggie that has his instructions and instructions for the battery and his collector card. We'll look at that. And last but not least, we have the main body itself along with the tracks and the tracks that go together for this guy. So I'm going to break everything out. We're going to look at his accessories, and we're going to look at kind of what you have to do to put this guy together to get him in robot mode, fresh out of package. And inside of the baggie, the very first thing we have are the instructions, and they're just instructions. This is the front of them. The back of them looks like that. And they're actually pretty good. The images are generally well done. Not perfect, but generally well done. There's a couple of places you might stumble over a little bit. The writing for the instructions, that leaves a little something to be desired. Over on the back, however, when we get here, we have a picture in robot mode and vehicle mode, or alternate mode, or base mode, whatever you want to call it. And you will notice that down here we have 66 steps. That's a lot of steps to get this guy into a base. A whole lot of steps. And then we have this. This is the instructions of how to put the numerous batteries inside of this guy in numerous places. Right here in the body area, the back area, we need two AA batteries. They're not too hard to put in. Over here, you need two more AA batteries kind of down in his tummy section. They're the easiest ones to put in. We have two LR41. Now, if you're like me, you're going to have trouble finding an LR41, but you can use an AG3-5 as a replacement. There are other options as well. So you don't necessarily need an LR41, but you need something that can replace that. They're a pain to put in the back of his head, mostly because there's not a lot of room. There are 4 very small screws back there, and when you take them out, there's a lot of wires and junk in there, and you're trying to kind of work around putting in two very, very small, like, watch batteries, basically. Then we have, over here, we have two more AA batteries that go into his claw arm. And we have two more of those watch batteries that go into his cannon arm, I guess. They are also a pain and a nuisance to get in. What can I say? It's not fun. Not fun getting them in. But there you go. That's how you do it. And did you ever doubt that we would have the ever popular collector card? This is on like plastic more than cardboard. It's really the art that's on the cover of the box on the front, and on the back we have all of those tech specs again. It goes from 1 to 10, and as you might expect, things like strength and fire blast and endurance are 10s. Rank is fairly high, around a 7 or so, and skill is around a 6. Speed, of course, is his lowest. That's where that dip is there, down to, I don't know, 3 or 4. So it's nice that you have that, I guess, as a frame of reference. And next up, we have this piece here. It's a nicely molded piece of translucent plastic with a little start down at the bottom. And it has a slot up here because there's another piece that goes with this. And notably this translucent piece. And it's like the tail end of a comet. And it has a peg right there. And the idea is that you can take these two pieces, and there's a way to... There. You got to get it at the right angle, but you do slot them together. I made that look a lot harder than it needs to be. There's a little notch on the bottom, and there's a little notch on the bottom here. So you line up the two notches, and that's how those two pieces fit together. I guess once it's all together, it either makes a nice kind of comet, or a nice blast effect, or of course, as it is primarily intended to be, like a thruster effect when his shuttle pieces take off. It's molded nicely. I don't know if it was necessary, but hey, I'll take it. Anything extra is always a plus. Speaking of an extra and a plus, we have two of these pieces. And I wondered at first, what were they for? I guess they're molded okay. It's fine, whatever. But we have two of them, and they are closely related to this piece, which has a connector on the bottom and this ring up top that's on a hinge. Again, it's molded fine. By the way, note that there's a couple of slots on the side here. And both those little pieces and this relate to this base. And it's just a base piece. It was down with the main body of Ultima Guard. You will notice near the bottom there's a little square section here and two little starts that are rounded over on the side. That's how all of this connects together. Speaking of which, we have a display base and we have pieces for a display base, so we're going to put those together quite simply. The little square peg at the bottom of this slots down right, actually I guess the other way. There you go. So all of this lines up nice and flush on the back. Then you take these other pieces and you put them down to the slot right there, and those holes that I mentioned on the side, they peg in right there, and this one pegs in there and on the side. I can do that, and I'll reposition this so we can see the whole display base for what it is. So here we have a nice display base. It's just a base, and we have the armature going up. It does look like the way the detailing is sort of in there, though a lot of it is hollow, it sort of looks industrial, which I think matches the way the base mode looks. We have a ratchet on the ring up top. It can go all the way this way, it can go all the way that way. I think that's it. I think that's all it has. I believe that's all it has. Still, I mean, the idea is you can put the rocket in here and it looks like the rocket is flying, I guess. Me personally, I just sort of set it up and use it as like a, I don't know, like a space bridge for the base or something, or a scanner, I don't know, something. To me, it's just another piece that either you can lay aside, or you can use it for the shuttle, or you can just use it as kind of extra filling for the base mode. Hey, why not? And the last accessory is actually a bonus figure. I don't think that Gabriel or Terminus Giganticus come with a bonus figure. So right away, this is nice to have. And you might be looking at it and saying, who or what is that thing? In the episode The Secret of Omega Supreme, he is kind of cleared for duty to guard Crystal City again by Doc. And this is Doc. It is, as far as I know, the one and only time this guy ever appeared in the fiction anywhere. He was a medical bot and kind of a jovial guy to be around. So, hey, why not include him in the set? Since really, and I'll talk about this later, but really, I think this entire thing, this whole outing by Wei Jiang is really based heavily on Omega Supreme's appearance and size and everything else from that one episode, The Secret of Omega Supreme. So, what about this guy? What about this bonus figure? Is it any good? Is it even worth having? Who cares, right? Well, first things first, his transformation 0, because he does not transform at all into anything. I don't know if he is supposed to have existed at a time before they learned the art of conversion or what, but he doesn't have an alt mode, and hey, in the animation he didn't, so I'm okay with that. Speaking of the animation, the coloring on this guy, 10. If you have seen Doc in the animation, this is what he looks like. This is pretty much perfect, spot on. It's fantastic. I absolutely dig that. The articulation for the guy, surprisingly, really good. So, just to sort of stand him up here, the head can go left and right, it can look up and it can look down. I love the blue on the eyes, by the way. It can go all the way around, by the way. The arms, they can go all the way around. They can go way out and up like that. We don't have a bicep swivel. I guess that's a shame, or if we do, I'm not able to find it. But like, if you want him to reach across his body, like he can still do it no problem because of the amount of movement in his arms. Like that's, you know, like not a problem. And if you're like, well, hey, I want his hand down, well, that's fine because he does have wrist rotation. So like, it's sort of a workaround for bicep swivel. And I'm kind of glad there's no bicep swivel on this thin little piece, but we still sort of get, you know, kind of reminiscent of that movement anyway, especially where all of his parts are rounded. Speaking of the hands, not only do they rotate, but we have articulation at the fingers. It's a base pin knuckle for all fingers, and that's it. He has a waist, and can go, you know, all the way around. Leg, can like high kicks for days. Leg way back, of course. Getting those arms out to the side. You know, legs way out to the side for full splits. Knee, nice deep knee, a little over 90 degrees. No thigh swivel, but again, I don't know if you really need it. If you really want to move his leg or his foot, again, because it's all rounded, I don't think it really matters, but he does have ankle tilt side to side. He does have forward and back. I think it's on a ball joint in there, but it's nice and snug. He stands like an absolute champion. How big is this guy? Well, here he is next to my custom Power of the Primes Elita 1. So, is he going to stay stood there? There. Here he is next to Elita. So, like, he's thin, yes, and taller. He's definitely a Voyager. I mean, he's not as big as a leader, obviously. But I would say, you know, that this is a case of, yeah, he's Voyager class. The only reason he's taller is because her, you know, plastic amount is used for bulk. His is used for height. So I would say he's a tall Voyager. I think that's impressive for a bonus figure with the cheapest of the 3 options out there. I think that's really impressive. Articulation, 10. Honestly, for just a kind of a throwaway bonus pack-in that doesn't actually transform, I think it's a 10. It's a great, you know, addition. Hey, I'm cool with adding Doc. I don't know how I will use him or where he will go or what will happen in the future, but why not? Why not enjoy a free figure when you get one? And that's the way I sort of see this guy, because he's easy to forget about, but he's so darn good. And by the way, we do have one more accessory, a little baggie with about 5 extra screws in it. I like that in case you lose one or a screw gets stripped or something. You have replacements. I think that is actually really thoughtful. I think that that's great. And now we're at the main event. I have everything out, all of the pieces, including the enormous body, and we're going to put this guy together. And you might be saying to yourself, that seems like a daunting task. And indeed, it is a daunting task, but not as daunting as you think would be. As a matter of fact, there's really only like one thing about him that I'm not a huge fan of. Now, I will say this. DX9's Gabriel has more parts on him that just stay on him the entire time. Notably here around the legs. And that's the one part of this guy that's a little bit of a nuisance. But once you know how to handle it, I don't think it's too bad, and the end result is really, really nice. So, where do we begin? That's a really good question. That's a heck of a question. I would say we begin by taking the tank piece and putting it in and kind of making his body first. Now, I have all of the batteries in this guy, so we'll see what happens as we go here. But this is how you get him in robot mode out of package, and that's where I'm going to start. So we take this whole front piece and we bring it down. There are a couple of holes there and a couple of little starts up right here, I think, that this wedges into. We take our tank piece, we bring the head up, and we turn it around. When we put this piece on, we have 2 slots, one here and one here. They go over notches here and here, and basically you fit him down in and then you push him back. So we fit him down. Here's one of his sayings. Let's hope that doesn't happen too often, but that's one of his sayings, and you can see that when he speaks, these sections here on his chest also light up. By the way, he also has, though we'll see this later, these little gun pieces here, they also light up. We'll see all of that later, but you put them down there, and the reason that they go off accidentally is because there are buttons down at the bottom. That's when you push down on them, that's what you're kind of pushing on. If you can avoid doing that, then you'll avoid having him go off accidentally. So we push that back, and then we just push this piece up and in. Easy. Then we have the arm pieces. And you need to have these white pieces, I'm saying white, very light gray, off-white, they need to be straight when you go to put these on. When you look at the little connector down here, there's a little notch on the front and a little notch on the back. When you look inside the arm pieces, there's a little notch and a little notch. So there's a specific way that these go on. You got to line up the notches, and presumably once you line up the notches, you should be able to get this on, no problem. There. And I guess turn it so his elbow is facing out, and these pieces turn. So there's one piece out, and here, just for fun, I'll open those and kind of do that. Okay, fantastic. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to show the notches in here, just so you know exactly what we're talking about. And I'm referring to the little notch up here and the little notch down right there. You can see those easy enough. So we take this other piece. By the way, I have put an Autobot symbol on this. And again, we have the notches on the front and the side there. We take this piece. It goes up over. You know it's in when it clicks. Turn. And I guess turn like that. I want my Autobot symbol out front, so there you go. That's that done. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, we'll do the wings next because they're not hard either. So the wing pieces. Taking this guy and turning him around. They're not hard, but I did have to figure out what I was doing with them. Pick that up so that's out of your way. Take this piece and fold it in, and take this piece and fold it in. I would do that now, because if you wait till later, it's going to be a nuisance. You have two red starts here. Now people say it's hard to put these pieces on over them and take them off. It's not. What you need to do though, when you're taking them off, is you really need to kind of push on the start and get them off. I'll show that when we transform this guy. But you take these two, and of course you just, as we have oh, that's the wrong side. They're specific sided, by the way. How do I know that I had the wrong side? Because you need this piece to, of course, be on the inside. So we put that on, if I can line it up. There. We put that on and we bring that over. It's easier to do this if he's lying down, to be honest with you. Okay, so with this side on, now we can take this side and put it on as well over here, if I can line it up and keep those from falling. Like I said, if I were you, I would lay this guy down and do this while he's down. Put those out. Now, if you haven't done it already, you take this piece and bring it in here, extend this ramp out if you didn't, and you fold this up. There's a little notch on either side, and they go over little tabs on the orange here, and little tab on the orange right here. So you bring that in, put it over the little orange tab, over the little orange tab. And once you have that tabbed in, it's secure. It is secure. Okay, all we have left are the leg pieces. Whew. Okay, so before I go on, I wanted to take a closer look just at this backpack section because I personally kind of stumbled over it for a little while, and I really, really don't want you guys to go through the same fate that I did. Okay, and I know I just explained this. So, let me see if I can kind of do this a little better visually. When he comes at a package, that's what I was afraid of. When he comes at a package, this whole section right here is pushed in. You need to extend it, and the way it looks like in the instructions, it looks like there's a hinge in right here. It looks like you're supposed to bend it up on that hinge, but that's not what you do. And you straighten out like that for, so it looks like this, say, straight, for his base mode. But if you try to bring it up like this, obviously it doesn't work. So you still need to leave this down. And then you bring this piece in, and then you fold this piece up. Now when you fold this piece up, you may notice, hopefully right now, that you have a little notch right there. Well, on this orangey piece, that's where the little tab is. And it's not hard to get it in on either side, really. And they go in right there. Okay, so I just wanted to show that. Now, next I mentioned those darn leg pieces, and out of package, this is pretty much what you're getting. And I wanted to discuss these before I actually go to put them on. This is the one section of this guy that is a little bit of a nuisance and a pain. When we open them out, here's basically what we have, if I can show it. We have like a white hinge and a white hinge with a connecting piece here. And then we have a white hinge with half a connecting piece and a white hinge with half a connecting piece. And these two just go together like that. All of this is over his foot. And then these pieces fold up on the sides and come together. Now, a couple of things to note here before we actually try to do it. One, and I'll open this again because I know I'm going to need it open to do it. One, this hinge goes over the back of his foot. This tabs together over the front of his foot, which isn't too bad, only for the fact that you need to get in behind kind of that yellow section on the front of his leg. 2. We have 2 pegs here and we have 2 pegs over here. They go into specific holes on the basically the side of his leg. I'll show those in a second. And 3, this little half and this little half notches in such a way that that yellow piece can slot in there. It's a series of things that needs to fit together that works well when it's done, but it's a nuisance to do it. I think all of it would have worked out better had this solid piece been in front and you brought this kind of in over the front of his toe first and then connected this on the back. As it is, you cannot do that because it only connects one way. This is the back of the leg, and this of course is the front of the leg where that yellow section goes. So I just wanted to kind of note how this works before we actually do it in case it doesn't kind of show well later. Okay, so we're going to try to put this on. It helps if you kind of splay the legs a little bit, but it doesn't help much. This isn't easy. You really need to kind of get this in around, and then you want to get really the inside part on first. If you can, if you're lucky enough to be able to do that. Bring that little connector piece out. Feel for where the 2 connection points are in here. I think I've got them. Hope I've got them. We got that one pushed in, and then this piece comes up and attaches over. We bring that up. And now we work to push the whole thing together. And these 2 pieces should push together. Whew. Okay, that's one leg. And that was brutal. That one part, not fun. Not fun. We're going to try and do the other leg over here and see if we have any better luck than we had with the first leg. Let's hope we do. Let's hope we do. Though, to be honest, I really don't know. Same thing, we have to take the solid piece in over the back of the leg. We're going to have to attach the front piece. Those 2 pegs need to go into these 2 holes here and the 2 on the other side, and this hinge right here needs to go in between these square pieces. Okay, so I should be able to just bring that in over. I should be able to feel for those 2 peg sections. Bring that out and attach those 2 halves together. See what I mean? Like, this would have been a lot easier if that was in the back. Bring that leg out a bit. Whew. Wow. Wow, these leg sections, the way they wrap around, like, it's solid, it's sort of ingenious, but it is not fun. Anyway, I'm going to get him kind of stood up properly, and then we'll see him in all of his glory. Whew, and there you go, we have 23.75 inches of glory. The guy looks great. I'm not a fan of those legs. Sometimes they cooperate with me, sometimes they don't. I added, of course, an Autobot symbol here and here. Now, in a lot of promotional material, this guy had a black section here that was changed to yellow or orangey yellow for production. He also didn't have the silver highlights in here. It was just yellow. So I kind of like those added bits. The transformation, I cannot grade it yet. But you've seen that these leg pieces are a pain. DX9's Gabriel, even Terminus Giganticus, or Gigantus, whatever, I think they handle the legs better. Certainly Gabriel handles these lower leg sections better. Outside of those lower leg sections, this guy has a pretty easy transformation, to this point anyway. We'll see how the rest of it goes. The paint apps, well, you know, we have tampographed stuff here and up on his shoulders. We have tampograph detailing here. A lot of it says non. I don't know what N-O-N is supposed to mean, but that's what a lot of it says. I do like that there's an arrow pointing in here for danger and another one over on his other shoulder that says danger. He has the yellow down the sides, which is accurate. Even all the molded in detail, like around here, the molded in detail on his tummy, on his rib section, all of that molded in detail that's here is accurate. It's on the animation. Certainly on the animation for the Secret of Omega Supreme episode. This is how he looks out front. This is how he looks from this side. Here's how he looks from the back. And I'll say this, like, that backpack's not falling off, it's secure. Here's how he looks from this side. And last but not least, we're right back around where we started here at the front. Is he back heavy? Is he stable? He is slightly back heavy. He is more stable than Fans Toys' entry into the Omega Supreme battles. He's not quite as, I guess, secure, so to speak, as Gabriel, but he's pretty close. And you can do some great things with this guy. Not the least of which is making him stand on one foot. I have done that. There was a picture where his leg pieces were left off and he was standing on one foot, but I got him to stand on one foot with them on. I'm just going to see if I can do it now. Why not? Hey, we're here. So, go like that. Sit forward. I wouldn't advise leaving him like it, but it's no problem. The guy can get on one foot, so that's pretty secure. We have a lot of gimmicks here, but I'm going to go through his articulation first after I grade the paint apps. Oh, by the way, and I pointed this out earlier, the guy also, and I think he is the only one who has these two chest blasters. I think that's great. Just adds to the playability. All of the detailing up here is accurate. Honestly, I didn't do any custom paint work on the guy. He didn't need it. I added the Autobot symbols, and that's really about it. Now, it says that he has an extra face. When you look at the instructions, it says extra face might not be included. I don't have an extra face. All I have is this one, which I think is a good face. Now, I'll get in closer on it, in a few minutes. I think it's a good face. It's better than Gabriel's. Not quite as good as Fans Toys, but pretty great nonetheless. Now, some people have kind of complained and said, he's smirking. I don't really see it, but he might ever so slightly have a smirk. Maybe. I guess that's possible. We'll go through the articulation. I'll go in close on his face, and then we will do all of the like lights and sound and all that good stuff. So, in terms of paint apps, I'm giving this guy a 10. Honestly, it is undoubtedly Omega Supreme. Even molded in detail is there based on the line work used for the animation. I can't argue that. Terminus Giganticus I give a 9 to, because I don't like how his lower leg pieces are cut off what seems like a little short to me. And I feel like he's maybe a bit bulkier than I would like my Omega to be, but that's personal choice. Honestly, this personal choice, I could see the argument for him being a 10. It depends on how you view the guy. Gabriel, same sort of thing. Like, I give him a 9. It's accurate, but I feel like his lower leg pieces are a bit too wide. And I feel like his yellow is a bit washed out, and his face sculpt isn't as nice as this guy or the Fans Toys entry. That being said, again, he's still strong. Here's the thing. Because the variations between the three, in terms of aesthetics, are really so minor, there could be an argument for any of them being like a 9, any of them being a 10. It really depends on kind of your thoughts on it and what you view as your recollection of Omega Supreme and your ideal. So for me, this guy's a 10. I could see the argument for either of the other ones being placed, you know, in terms of aesthetics, higher than this guy. I totally get it, man. Even something as simple as, you know, he has a clear, I guess, helmet visor piece. So does Gabriel, but Terminus Giganticus has a tinted one, and the tinted one, you know, might seem more accurate to some people. So, like, I get it, but I think all three of them are pretty good. I think the biggest criticism that anybody could levy against this guy would be, hey, his gray could be a bit lighter. Maybe. For me, it's 10. In terms of his articulation, well, in his base mode, he's fantastic. He really is. You know, he has a motorized tank. He's the only one of the three with a motorized tank. So, there you go. Right away, he wins there. The other two do not have that. In terms of articulation here, the head can go left and right. You might say, hey, it's hindered by the cannon piece, but you can lift that up and his head can go all the way, you know, really, I'll put these down, really his head can go all the way around if you wanted to. This does open up. Now when it comes down, mine doesn't stay quite closed, like it just pushes up ever so slightly. Inside, the face can move left and right. There's better ways that that's been handled with Terminus Giganticus, I do believe. He cannot look up or, well, he can look down a little bit, but he can't really look up. But I like, that's okay because he doesn't really need to look up. I'm cool with him just being able to look down a bit. It'd be nice if he had a little bit more. Gabriel wins there because Gabriel has a neck joint and he can look up and down. But, you know, a little bit down is better than no down. In terms of the arms, well, before I do anything, I'm going to turn that because the button right here is for his light or his light and sound gimmick, and I really don't want to hit that. So the arms, they can go up, down on beautiful ratchets, out on ratchets like that far, like way far out on pretty heavy ratchets. He has a bicep swivel, that's ratcheted. He has, it's a double elbow, but it gets you just over 90 degrees because of the bulk of this piece. Obviously it can go straight down. The claw here, I mean, it can open out, actually here, I'll bring this up. It can open out all the way like that. It can close up all the way. And on each one of these, we have a hinge right out at the tip. That's a very, very soft ratchet. Then we have, obviously, this hinge in here, which is another nice soft ratchet. And then we have a middle hinge. That's a heavy ratchet. So each one can kind of, you know, hinge at the base, and then first knuckle and second knuckle. I don't like doing the first knuckle because, actually, that one's, maybe I've worked it out a bit. I was going to say the first knuckle is usually a pain to go back, but I don't know. They're cooperating with me, it seems, today. Oh, this one's not. This one over here makes me nervous. So, he, you know, he has, I guess he has good articulation there. One of the other ones only has 2 points of articulation. The other has 3. I want to say maybe Gabriel only has 2 and Terminus Giganticus has 3, but I'm really not sure which one has 3 like this guy and which one only has 2 points of articulation there. What else? The waist. The guy has a waist, which I think is fantastic, and it's a nice clicky waist. I think both of the other ones have it. I know Gabriel does. Then we have, I'm just going to get these up. Then we have his legs, and they go out to the side all the way. Both of them go out this far, and there's heavy ratchets. It holds just fine. Both sides hold just fine. In terms of going back, if I can goes way back. A lot of people said he doesn't go back very far, but he does go back quite a ways. He can go, because this hip skirt can move out a bit, he can go forward about that far, which I think for his size is pretty respectable. The only reason that he can go out that far is because the hip skirt here moves as it does on this side, and the side skirts over here, they also move, which allows his outward movement. And we have ankle tilt on both feet. You know, I mean, you're not getting a crazy amount with the ankle tilt because of all the leg stuff around, but you can get a couple of clicks. I think 2 clicks. Do you really need any more than that? A lot of people said, he can't stand up straight. His legs are too big. No, they're not. This guy can stand up just fine, perfectly straight. I don't know why people say these things. There you go. His legs are perfectly straight and he's just fine. You know, no problem. And of course his knee. And for his knee, I love even the like hydraulics and stuff detailed in here on his knee. Knee, 90 degrees for sure, if not 92, 93 degrees. Can his ratchets support him holding a figure? Yes, here he is holding Power of the Prime's Leader Class Optimus. Just fine. The ratchet holds fine. And if I want, and I haven't tried this before, by the way, so this is new to me. Will he be able to do it out to the side? I don't know, let's hope he can. Let's hope the ratchet out to the side is just as strong. Yeah, he can do that, no problem. Terminus Giganticus can hold a figure of this size. I've seen it done with MP36. He can hold a figure of this size out to the front and out to the side. Early samples of Gabriel could do this, but it seems like they tweaked the ratchets and made some of them soft ratchets, and now Gabriel cannot apparently do this out to the side, but he can do it out to the front. So take that for what it's worth, folks. So, articulation. Honestly, maybe the leg ratchets forward and back are a little heavy, maybe. But for the stability that the guy actually has, I'm going to say it's a 9.5. Maybe, arguably, the forward and back on the leg ratchets. That is going to really be, I think, your choice. I don't see a problem with them. I like that they're strong like that, to be honest with you. But, you know, again, that's just me. I'll give credit where credit is due and say that, you know, some people might want that softened a bit. 9.5. So a 10 for paint apps. Let's even, you know what, let's say a 9 for paint apps. Let's say that your preference is one of the other ones. There's still no mistaking it, and all of the detail is correct here. So a 9 and a 9.5. Right now the guy's getting a 9.25, though we haven't graded his transformation yet. I'm going to go in close now and show just a couple of the details that I really like on him that it might be harder to see from a distance. Then we'll go through the gimmicks and then we'll do his transformation to his base mode. So there is that glorious face, and I'll open this up so you can actually see the face better. I like it. I guess I can see why people might say he's smirking a little bit, but it's definitely better than the DX9. It looks like Omega Supreme to me. And that's not the only thing that he has that I like detail-wise. We have a lot of detailing going down the body there, like even there on his ribs. That's accurate. Look at the pistons on his arms. Wow, like the attention to detail astounds me. There's the detailing on his backpack. It's every bit as detailed as the Terminus Giganticus, more detailed than DX9's. And last but not least, the back of those knees. I love that they have the hydraulics in there. Like it should be. Like you would expect the knees of a machine to operate. And now we're going to do a few size comparisons because there's been a lot of debate about, is this guy too big? In fact, are all three of these too big? Let's get a couple of things straight. First, Terminus Giganticus is a couple of inches taller than this guy again. I believe he clocks in at 26 inches, which puts him bigger than even the Titan class figures that we know and love. Then there's this guy and Gabriel, who are about the same size, about the same height. So I'm gonna try and put his arms in as much as I can here. And we're gonna do some size comparisons, going from small to large. Since I don't have a deluxe handy, we're gonna have to start off with the Legend. And who better, who more fitting really than little Legends class Scamper that comes with Metroplex. You can see how big a Legend is there, and he's your typical size. I mean, your Brawn, Bumblebee, Sea Spray, Beachcomber type of size. I mean, he's a Legends class figure. Taking him out of it, here he is next to, again, my custom Power of the Primes Elita 1. She's a Voyager. If you don't know her, you probably know that Starscream mold. I looked at Elita 1 in episode 394, and here she is, or here he is, with the Power of the Primes, who has a smokestack down. The Power of the Primes, Leader Class Evolution Optimus Prime. So that's how he scales with the Leader Class figure, which is basically the same size as MP Prime. And I looked at this guy in full in episode 347. So taking these guys all out of it, let's start doing the ones that count the most. Here he is next to Generations Metroplex. And while we're at it, let's just throw in Titans Return Fortress Maximus. And that's what I would call the three Autobot Titans together. They are all roughly the same height. Ultima Guard, or Omega Supreme if you will, is just as bulky as Fortress Maximus, but slightly shorter, at least to the head. If you include those wing pieces, he's a bit taller, but slightly shorter at the head. And at the head, he's about the same as Metroplex, pretty much. These guys are pretty close, like there's a quarter to a half inch in the difference, but I think they look fantastic together. My three Autobot Titans, honestly, my Autobot Titans are done. I love the way that they look together. Now, what about this guy compared to Decepticons? Well, and we'll see more of this later because all of these guys are going to have a role to play when I do my ultimate base mode. So we're going to take him out of it. And we're going to take him out of it for now. And I'm going to show him with Trypticon and his arch nemesis. And I say that more than one because technically there's more than one that go together to make Devastator. So here he is next to the Titan class Trypticon and the Titan class Devastator. And he towers over them. He towers over both of them. I don't know what else to say. I was lucky with my Trypticon. I didn't have the issues that a lot of people had. And he's still big and bulky. He could certainly, give Ultima Guard or Omega Supreme a run for his money. Now, I'm going to just focus in for a second on Ultima Guard compared to Devastator. Now, A lot of people have said that this guy, or either one of the other two, scales best with Toy World's constructor, that masterpiece scaled Devastator. And I can see the argument for that because they stand largely head to head and it looks good, it looks right, one is as bulky as the other. But, as I stated earlier, I think this guy is really solely based on the Secret of Omega Supreme episode. And in that episode, this scale is correct. Devastator comes up to about the shoulder chest area of Omega Supreme and does not have the bulk that Omega Supreme has. I believe that at least as far as Wei Jiang's offering goes, it was not only inspired by, but totally drawn from the Secret of Omega Supreme episode, right down to the scaling. I believe he was constructed such that he is intended to scale with the Titan class Devastator based on what we have presented to us in that particular episode. That's my take on it. That's my guess. By the way, I looked at everything to do with Devastator, right from the first incarnation of the Trypticon team up to and including the PC-07 kit way back in episode 15 right through 22, a long time ago, man. Long time ago. And here we have a group shot of all of my Titans. I absolutely love this. As far as I'm concerned, for my personal collection, I'm only missing one. I'm only missing one. Bring me a Scorponok. By the way, not only did I look at Devastator in episodes 15 through 22 a long time ago, I looked at Trypticon, everything to do with him, right from unboxing to the very end in episode 300. Luckily, I did not have the issues with him that a lot of people had, and I consider myself very lucky in that regard. Fort Max. I looked at Fort Max in episodes 116, 117, and 118. 116 was the unboxing, 117 was the actual review, and 118 is the first time that I did an Ultimate Base Mode. It's where the Ultimate Base Mode concept started, and this video is where it's going to end for me. So if you want to see kind of how my base mode has built up, check out episode 118. Because I do all the comparisons with between Fort Max and Metroplex there. And speaking of Metroplex, I looked at him way back in episode 24. And I guess I sort of looked at him again because I made mistakes in episode 24, man. I didn't know what I was doing. I looked at him again fairly recently because I looked at Iron Factory's Turrets Manacle. And I'd done that in episode 409, where I sort of cleaned up some of the mistakes that I made with this guy. What can I say? This is absolutely glorious. I never ever get tired of looking at it. Give me a Scorponok and my Titans are complete. I don't want any more. I don't have the room for any more, but I do need Scorponok. And you know what? I've thought about it. I think that Scorponok can pretty easily be done from the Fortress Maximus use of the mold, with, of course, some remolding. But I think it could pretty easily be done from that and make him the biggest Decepticon ever. That'd be great. And as if all of that isn't enough, lights and sound for this guy. First things first, this can actually, though it's not meant to go in here now, you can, I guess I should actually bend this up. In the innermost opening of his claw hand, you can place that blast effect so it looks like he's blasting something. It's not meant for there. But we'll see it in a little bit. In fact, I'm not even going to deal with the light and sound effect that's on this arm right now. Let's just deal with the lights and sounds that make sense here now. Let's do that. So putting this arm back down, we come over to this other arm, and we have this side. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. We have like a blue LED in here. It's pretty nice. I don't maybe if I turn some of the lights off, we can get a better look at it. Maybe. So there's a look at that as best as I can get it right now. We turn this around and we have a little button in there, and we turn his head back around and his eyes light up blue. Though I feel like in kind of test shot stuff or promotional pictures we saw red for these, or like orange. I think I'm going to open these up. So two batteries over here and two batteries here. Both of those are the LR41 batteries. Two batteries here, we'll see that later. Two batteries in the actual kind of torso section for the tank. And then on the back there's another panel for two more batteries so he can do this. And so, you know, you got those features if you're into lights and sound. I'm not a lights and sound guy, but whatever, they're there. And like I said, we still have two features to go through. Okay. Whew. Man, we've come a long way already. And we're still not done. I'm sorry, by the way, that this is going so long, but I'm trying to be as thorough, as absolutely thorough for you guys as I can, so you can make kind of the most informed choice for you, because let's be realistic, this guy, whatever version you get, is a major purchase, a major undertaking, and hopefully, if you're anything like me, a once-in-a-lifetime type of purchase. Now, we're going to do the transformation. I'm going to do as much as I can here, but we're definitely going to change venue, because I can guarantee you now that when the track is kind of put all the way out, it is too big for my space here. That's a shame. That is a shame, but it is what it is, because this guy's huge. I think when the track is opened out, it's something like 4 feet. I think 4.5 feet, something like that. I think it's, I don't know, 190 centimeters. I don't know, something. It's big. It's my table that I'm using here is 4 feet. It's bigger than that. So, where do we begin? Good question. Close these things up. I would say open his chest, pick up his head, detach and lift. We got that whole section out. Now we have this body section here. We bring the head up, we turn it around, and now we have a little tank. Oh, before we turn it around, by the way, this cavity right here is where you put the other two batteries. We turn this whole thing around. If you don't like his face peeping out at you on the back playing peekaboo, you can turn it around like that, so now it's gone. And that's our tank. A lot of people have criticized it and said, it is a pretty rinky-dink little tank. Maybe, but guess what? This tank still has full rotation up and down of the turret, and it can move by itself with actual rubber treads. Though, even if you don't have the rubber treads in use, or they rot and break off one day, it kind of doesn't matter, because you still have wheels down bottom that he can roll anyway. I like the tank. As a matter of fact, I like the tank for Gabriel even better. I don't really like the tank for Terminus Giganticus because I feel like it's too big compared to the size of the base and the track that's used with the rest of that figure. I feel like the tank is just, it doesn't fit. It's too big. This might be too small, but that one is too big, and I think the perfect one is what DX9 has. Nevertheless, I dig this tank. I am okay with it, especially since it moves on its own. For the record, it can go on the track or it can just go across your floor. We'll see that a little bit later. So, having that out, what do we do next? Straighten out his arm, and it actually says in the instructions that to take these pieces off, you need to have the arms straight. So we straighten out the arm, and we pull that off. Takes a little bit of force, but nothing too major. We can do the same on the other side. Over here. Straighten it out, bring it out, and pull it off. And that leaves us with two pieces, and really what you have on each of these is you have, pressing that button again, you have two holes here, two starts here. On the other piece you have two holes and two starts, and really you just line them up so that all four of the I'll do it from this side, so that all four of the starts and slots can peg into one another. Little elbow grease, and boom, there you go. Now I'm going to take this off for a second. I'm going to focus just on this for a moment. Now, we have the shuttle. It's a nice big shuttle. It holds together all right. I'm not going to pretend that it's not open to being better, but it's pretty good. I mean, it stays together well enough. By the way, if you put it on that ring, and we'll see that later, the ring goes in here before you put these two pieces together. Now, you might be saying, hey, your Autobot symbol is upside down. Indeed it is. You can, at this point, reach in. Is it top and bottom, or is it on the sides? I'm not even sure how it is now. I get on the sides. On the sides, you can reach in and pull that out, turn it on the side, turn it all the way around, and now that panel rotates so that your Autobot symbol is in the correct positioning. This brings us to the, I guess, second to last of his lights and sounds gimmick thing. And again, I guess I'll turn the lights off for this. I don't know how well this is going to show at all. We will try it. We will see. You, at this point, would put the blast effect in there just like this, and you get a countdown. And I don't know if you can see the red in it or not, but there is red coming out into this. I don't find it that strong. And it goes on forever and ever and ever. And ever. Just one other thing worth noting on this piece that I kind of forgot there for a moment, but I'll do it now. And I think all three versions that are out of Omega Supreme have this. That would be, if I can find it, the ramp. And I think this is the ramp. Is that the ramp there? Or is it on the other side? Oh, it's on this side. He does have an extending ramp, and while all three of them have this, and while I believe it's Gabriel's the best, I like the way that the ramp works on it, I believe that this is the most G1 accurate. I feel like it was a thin set of stairs. So because I think it's supposed to be accurate, I really like how this worked out. I don't even know, but we have the correct number of bends to the ramp. I'm not sure, but of course you could have Autobots presumably go up and go inside of Omega Supreme. So he does have this. And I like the way that it turned out. It seems, again, quite thin, but all of these pieces are, like even the hinges, like nothing seems fragile. It all seems good. So there you go. That's this whole piece now done. So for those of you keeping score at home, we now have a huge shuttle and we have a tank. So we'll lay both of those aside for now. Like I said, I'm going to do what I can here now. I guess the next part would be to remove the track. So we come to the back again, and I spent a nice bit of time talking about how this tabs in. So you untab it there, and you untab it there, and you bring it down. You bring this piece out, and you bring this piece out, and now you need to take these off. And a lot of people have said that these do not come off very easily. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna put that one over and try and deal with one at a time. Maybe this one first. There you go. That one comes off no problem. The one over on this side, I find I need to like push in on the red with my thumb and pull out with my other hand, and then they both come off. No problem. We'll lay those aside. But for the record, since I have them out, they just expand out like this. That's all. And when you want to fold them back up again, you just fold them up like that. They basically expand out into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So there you go. There's 2 of those. And now we're left with this. And we're still not done taking stuff off because we got to remove these pieces from his lower legs. So I'm just going to bring that up and out for now. The pieces from his lower legs, we know how much of a pain that was earlier to put them on. Let's see how much of a pain they are to get off. I feel like they're probably easier to get off than they were to put on. So really all you're doing is starting to wiggle them out from the ports on the side of the leg. And when you have one side out, you can come to where they're attached there on the foot and undo them. That up. We got to get it out from the other side. There. And that piece is off, no problem. Easy. Same on the other side. We need to pull it out. Like, it's a lot easier to get these off than it is to get them on. That. Right there. No problem. For the record, though even like the connections on these things are small and whatnot, like it's good plastic. I don't feel like I'm going to break anything at all on this guy. Everything feels good and solid to me. Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting. I'm just going to put these arms up for now out of the way. And when I was looking at it, I said, this whole piece seems to be out on the front, but how does that happen? Especially since the legs seem to be staying in this direction. It's because there's actually a separate piece in right here. And this separate piece is what turns around. It's also why he has his waist joint. By rights, now this whole piece is supposed to go back up, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Bring the arms back down. You're supposed to now fold them in on the back and then bring the kind of shoulder piece things out there. Actually, just because this is the way I like it, I'm going to turn that piece like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to turn them this way, but I do because I like this industrial sort of look on the side here, like steel beams. That there. Now, this piece here can fold up or down, of course. I think you're supposed to bring it up like that. I don't. I leave it down the whole way as like a, I don't know, rear-facing ramp to come up to computers or something there, whatever. Then we come to the front. I like to open these up. Again, you're not told that you're supposed to. In fact, some people probably wouldn't want to, but hey, that's what I do because why not have extra blasters on your base? The leg section. The leg section is going to be next. They are, I guess, ever so slightly complex. We take the bottom part of this guy and we rotate it around. That's what they say to do in the instructions. And we bring the leg up, and we know this because this should be facing the front. We bend him at the knee, we bend the foot down and in. We do the same on the other side. So on the other side, we bend the leg out, we bend the knee, we bend the foot down, we bend it in. Whew. And that's kind of his base one. I'm going to just reorient things here a bit to sort of finish this part off. Okay, now we're almost there. We take this piece and we slide it in. We bring out these two pieces here. Now you might say, wait, if you were to put anything on that, sure, it would just lay down like that. Indeed, you're right. It would just lay down like that. So before I do anything else, I open that out, and on the side we have a couple of little pieces in here. Now I'm just going to use a pen, but you can use what you like to get them out. I've also used the blast effect that comes with this guy. That works fine. Just something to wedge these two little pieces out. And we do the same on the other side. And we nudge that piece out. Now that we have that done, we can close that down, push that in. And now this is stable. So we can put this rocket on that base, but you'll notice, oh no, the rocket is too large. Well, what a lot of people do is they will position the rocket like that so that it fits on there, no problem. You basically bend at that first knuckle. Or if you're like me, you can sort of try and position the third knuckle and then slightly bend the, you know, the most outer knuckle, because I don't like bending this one on one of those things. Bring that up again. By rights, these yellow pieces are supposed to just stay like they are, or go collapsed back on the leg like this. I prefer, just to give it some extra size, I prefer to leave them out to the side like that. So I do that there. And I do that there. And that's basically how his main body and I guess his arms look in the base mode. Now, that being said, we're not finished because we don't have his track and whatnot together yet. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you kind of how we do the bridge part of his track, which is that section that wraps around the lower leg. And then we're going to change venue so that we can see how it all comes together. And then we're going to see that ultimate base mode. Now, one of the biggest criticisms people have had of this guy is they say, when his leg is together, I don't like these pieces on the side. Well, I do. I think that they're kind of a nice way to tuck these away and add some bulk to the bridge length, and I think they just work. I think it makes for an interesting part of the transformation. Okay, so we've seen this already where we have this one piece and we have to put this piece together. So at this point, we will put the piece together. And then we'll come to the top here and we have two little notches and two little starts. And they simply slide together like that. We pick this off, and really what we have is two rectangular tabs that go into two slots here and here. When we pick this up, we turn it around and we straighten it out. On the other side, we do the exact same thing, we pick it up, we turn it around, and we straighten it out. By the way, if you're interested to know what the tamper graphs on this says, non, whatever that is, I still don't know what non is. And as for these, it looks like Roman numerals. I don't know why. And then it says Crystallopolis, like ultimate defense line or something like that. Anyway, here's one bridge. We have two of these, and they open out to a nice big size. I like it. I like it. I like it. Oh, for the record, when you're trying to put these together and decide what side goes out, one side looks like this, and the other side looks like this. These yellow pieces should be facing outward. I almost feel like Matt Deluxe Baldwin doing his floor time, because I'm on the floor and I'm losing daylight, so I want to try and get through this. Holy, this has been a long one. Woo! Okay, so we got a lot of it transformed, luckily. We do not have the track together, so this is part one of the track. It is one of his shoulder pieces folded out, and I'm gonna push that all the way back there for now. Then I'm gonna take one of the other bridge pieces, and I'm going to attach it. Now, you may notice, and you may not, I don't know, but there's a little ridge right here. There's another little ridge down on the other side. And that little ridge goes over, or there's a little slot in the bridge piece. And that little ridge goes over the little slot, or the little slot in the bridge piece goes over the little ridge. Whew, there. So, we bring that in like that and put that bridge piece on. Remember, the yellow on the bridge, the yellow here on the bridge is what needs to be on the outside. So we do the same over there. And now we have two bridge pieces out. Okay, we need the other piece of the track, which is this other shoulder piece, I suppose, here. And we need to make sure that these line up and also peg in. Like that. And this is the entire track, thankfully, done. Now, because we were lucky enough to have the rest of this transformed, the rest of this is pretty easy. I'm going to take this piece and place it in here, and I like to make sure that these reach there, like that. Then we are going to take the shuttle, and we'll put the shuttle on right there. And is that right? There, I just have to adjust the waist slightly. And finally, we would take the tank and place it right there. And this really is the alt mode, the base mode that we have been working toward for the last little while. Now, I do a couple of like extra things. I like to take his rocket stand, and I like to, I don't know, like place it like right there and put, oh, this does hold precariously, but it will stay in a certain section. Is it the other way? There's a way I do this where, there. And I don't know, like it's a space bridge opening or something, I don't know. So you can, of course, do something like that and it just fills it out more. Naturally, the intention is a little bit different. The intention is for you to open the shuttle, to place that blast effect in the tail end of the shuttle. And if I can do this without pressing the button, that would be great. I don't know if I'll be able to do this without pressing the button. This piece should feed in there. And then this piece should feed on over it. And yeah, I had this in the wrong way. I had this centerpiece such that this handle, so to speak, was on the outside, so that everything was flush here. But you need to have it turned around. I don't know why it makes a difference to the stability of the ring piece, but it seems to. It seems to make it stay sturdier. I don't know. I guess it's all about weights and counterweights. I don't think it's the strongest thing in the world, but hey, it's holding, and I guess the idea at this point is that now you would press the thing. Where is it? Press that, and now it should give you the countdown and work and all that. Just wonderful, dandy stuff. Just fantastic. And it still goes on forever. And ever. And yep, you guessed it, it goes on forever. It's a cool sound effect and stuff, but did it really need to go on this long, man? And the last thing that this guy can do, and this is kind of loud, I don't know how it will come across here, but it's kind of loud, but I think it's awesome all the same. You flick this little red switch right here, and when you do, come on, man! How is that not awesome? If you want, he can work his way across your floor, no problem. With a bit of help, go on. I mean, come on, man. Neither of the other two can do that. Look, I think the guy's fantastic. This is huge. Now, we gotta go to the base mode, the ultimate base mode, but I saw a few people from the TFW boards wonder if this track was big enough to go around Metroplex or Fortress Maximus. Well, I'm about to answer that question for you right now. So in terms of Fortress Maximus, in his stock configuration, yeah, it can. No problem. At all, actually. I think that's so cool. I think that is so cool. And as you can see, the answer for Metroplex is yes. Yes, he can go around Metroplex as well. Okay, I'm going to set everything up for the once and for all ultimate base mode, ultimate base mode. And we're going to see how everything fits together. And I think more than a base now, we almost got Icon. So we'll see how it all goes together. We'll see how it looks. I'm excited about this. I'll be back in just a moment. And as promised, here is my Icon. I can't call this a base. I mean, look at it. Every single thing that I have that could be a base, including fan modes for a lot of the Titans Return Voyagers, a fan mode for Combiner Wars Ultra Magnus, fan mode for the trailer of Power of the Prime's Rodimus Prime, the Second Chance trailer that goes with Evasion Mode Optimus Prime, Metroplex, Ultima Guard, Fortress Maximus, the Titans Return Optimus or Magnus Prime or Jinrai, whatever you want to call them. Sentinel Prime. I mean, everything that I could possibly add is added. And you will notice that both Metroplex and Ultima Guard are inside of his track. Now, I'm going to kind of go freehand here. We'll see how it works. I have said it already that I am beyond happy to have Ultima Guard. He works for me because he is so big, because he can incorporate almost seamlessly with this. You see, I chose Ultima Guard really for 5 reasons. 1, he has the electronics in the tank so that it goes around. I think that's cool. 2, I think that the track, at least for me, is commensurate with the base. It's not too big, it's not too small. 3, I have encountered Wei Jiang products before and believe in their build quality more than most companies, to be perfectly honest with you. 4, I thought that the styling and the molding was really top notch. It looked mechanical, but at the same time it embodied everything that it needed to embody with the character. And 5, the price of all the options. This was the cheapest, and it came with a bonus figure. I really can't see any reason not to pick this guy. But of course, that's just me, and that's what fits for my collection. This works as the be-all, end-all for my Autobot base. And here we are once again. Now, eagle-eyed observers may notice that I have not given this guy a final score yet. Well, I'm going to talk about that now. Okay, the truth is, I went through the whole transformation scheme, and then I did the whole ultimate base mode thing, and I just forgot to grade his transformation. So we're going to do everything now. I said that his coloring was a 9. I think it's 10, but to be fair, a 9. I said that his articulation was a 9.5. I think it works fantastic. His transformation, these leg pieces are the only real thing on the guy that's a big challenge. Everything else is easy and works nicely. Now, to be fair, certain sections may have looked more challenging because I was trying to do him, of course, showing you guys, and with him standing up. Doing the back wings and doing those leg sections are best accomplished when he's lying down. Lay him on his tummy, put these sections on, no problem. Getting them off, also, no problem. The leg sections, again, it's easiest when he is laid down and you can kind of get in close and see what you're doing. I couldn't really do that on camera very easily. So I'm going to say that he's easier to convert than I made it possibly appear. And I'm going to give his transformation a solid 8. Overall, the guy is a good 8.75. It's a good Omega Supreme. There's no doubt about it. Now, I've done comparisons the whole time here with Gabriel and with Terminus Giganticus. I don't think that you lose either way. Whichever one suits your taste the best, I think you're going to win, because I think that in their own way, they're all strong. In terms of Gabriel, I like the conversion probably the best. He is very stable, but at the same time, I don't really like the face sculpt. I don't like the yellow that was used, and he doesn't come with the extra figure, nor is the tank motorized, though everything sort of scales nicely together. With Terminus Giganticus, he's definitely the biggest of the bunch. And he has a nice backpack, just like with Gabriel. In fact, with Gabriel, you can extend his wings a bit and extend them on the lower side so that he can have more of a G1 toy look. But with Terminus Giganticus, his head doesn't move. Gabriel's, well, his head doesn't look up or down. Gabriel's does, and this guy does a little bit. With Terminus Giganticus, though he's the biggest and his coloring is probably the nicest, arguably, I don't know if I dig him so bulky, and I don't really like how these pieces seem to be kind of cut off a little short on him for the size that he is. Still, he looks imposing, he looks great, and he's probably the one that scales best with masterpiece figures. Then we have this guy. He's more slender. If you want your Omega Supreme to be more slender, not quite as bulky, though he's still quite bulky. If you want one that is still accurate, If you want a decent face sculpt, maybe not quite the best, but a decent face sculpt, and an extra figure, and a motorized tank, and if you want him to have all of this for the cheapest price available, then go with this guy. It's fantastic. If you're not familiar with Wei Jiang, the build quality is great, man. It's great. Everything feels solid. It's a good plastic. The joints feel great. He's hefty. I don't feel like anything is going to break. I absolutely, positively dig the guy. Now, like I've said before, I would love to hear your thoughts about this dude. I'd love to hear which one is it that suits your taste the best. Which one suits your collection the best? Because we have 3 options, and I think it's a great time to be a fan of this character because none of them are weak. Honestly, none of them are weak or poorly made or anything like that. They're all winners. It's just a matter of what it is that suits your taste the most. I really think that the official Titan for this year should have been Omega Supreme, and I think that's an opportunity lost because a lot of people, I believe, are going to fill that space with these guys. We shall see how time unfolds. Anyway, all of that said, that's my thoughts about him. You know I love to hear what you guys have to say, so, by all means, let me know what you think of him or any of the other offerings. Ask me anything. Why not, man? That's what we're here for. Thanks for giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I hope by now you know just how much it is very appreciated. Once again, I'm going to say, please hit that subscribe button. Stick around, man. Have some fun with us. And I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.